Hello again, YouTube. In the last video we looked at transmitting serial from the cinnamon bun to an optocoupler and sending out MIDI messages, so serial note on and note off messages to get the synthesizer to play a note. I said at the time I wanted to do the reverse, which is the reception side, and this time the synthesizer, I've got the sequencer of the synthesizer to play a simple one note, which is C3C. Now I've changed the circuit around so that pin D1 is now receiving. So the last time, if we just look at the circuit is exactly the same as this MIDI in circuit out of SparkFun. The last time I had an example which was using a transistor. This SparkFun example uses an optocoupler, which is what I'm using. And the last time we were going from transmitting on the 3v3 side and into the MIDI on the 5 volt side. This is the reverse, so we've got 5 volts coming in from the MIDI, which is going to be converted to 3v3. So instead of 5 volt supply here, I've got 3v3. But it's exactly the same circuit, just two resistors and a diode across pins 4 and 5 of the MIDI in. And that's going to pin RD1 of my DS pick. So the code has changed slightly insofar as it's only very slightly. We're adding a function to process received characters. So anytime the UART receives a MIDI character or a byte on the MIDI channel, the UART of the MIDI channel, we're just going to print out that character. No processing at all for the minute, just print it out. And our MIDI port initialization of that UART changes from saying we want an invalid pin on the reception side to tell the library that we don't want to receive characters. We're going to change that to RD1 and set up this callback, and that's it. So 3 lines. We've added a callback function and changed 2 lines in the setup. Everything else is exactly the same because it's the library that is going to take care of receiving characters and call them, pass them to the MIDI, process MIDI function. So if I go back to, if I turn on my, well, if I connect it up and power on my cinnamon bun, I've got exactly the same code as the last time, bar those few different lines. Now the expiry function is still in there, so it's going to transmit on RD, or it's going to try and transmit on pin RD0, but that pin isn't connected at the minute. I've not got it connected to the breadboard, I've only got the reception side. But if I turn on the synthesizer and get it to play a note, turn it off again, there's our messages. So we've got the 90, which is note on, 3C is the note, and 7F is the volume or attack. And then we've got the next 3 bytes, or 80 is note off on channel, the first MIDI channel. 3C is the note we just turned on. So that's it, very simply. So this is going to be a very simple video on the UART reception. And the next bit is going to get a bit more complicated with what I want to do with this. So hopefully I'll try and get that turned around and do it quite quickly. But that for the minute is it. Short video. Thanks a million for watching. Hopefully it'll all make sense down the road.